Yeah, hi there. These comments are for, I'm just going to use your initials, AA. So let's download your integrated speaking practice test number 1. Take a look at it. And I'm Michael. I'm your online TOEFL teacher. I'm your TOEFL teacher at Cal State University. And you're taking my online course called the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT. So let's see how you did on this particular speaking task. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and record this. Download this. Okay, here we go.
File done.
Okay, let's listen to it.
The passage and speaker discuss how advertising influences humans' choices and behaviors. The passage may...
Now, one thing you're missing here, it does talk about how it influences people's behaviors, but there's 2 specific ideas that you want to mention in the beginning. But I like how you began the speech, but don't forget, political and economic effects of advertising. The political effects of it attach to the reading passage, and the economic effects attach more to the conversation. So you do want to put that in the beginning.
That advertising has a high effect in politic field.
You want to say in the political field, or has important effects in politics. Politics is a noun. Political is an adjective.
People will know more information about the candidates of president's selection. Also, that will affect on voting result. The speaker gives an example about how
will affect what?
Voting result. The speaker gives that will affect on voting result.
Okay, voting results. So you're not pronouncing that voting results very clearly.
The speaker gives an example about...
Now you need a transition word in there. You might say furthermore or in addition, and that way you're separating. Or you could start off with the reading passage, say first of all according to the reading passage, then you could say second of all according to the conversation, but you need a transition word in there, AA, that helps separate the key points of the two sources, the reading passage and the conversation.
How advertising affect our behavior. You'll buy.
But how it affects our behavior is not enough. It affects us economically. There are economic effects on advertising according to the conversation. You want to make sure you point that out when you introduce the conversation.
A certain toothpaste that you have seen advertising about it on the TV.
And I would be careful about that you have seen. You might say consumers, or shoppers. That's probably a better word instead of you. So focus more on the information. Focus on presenting the information from, I think, the reading passage and the conversation. You want to summarize, and I think the second person point of view, use not the appropriate point of view to use when you're summarizing other people's ideas.
Even though is it a good product or not? In conclusion,
I think you had some trouble with grammar there. Let's go back.
Is it a good product or not? Paste that you have seen advertising about it on the TV. Even though is it a good product or not? In conclusion,
you might say, and whether or not it's a good product. That might be a little bit better grammar for you there. Or, and if it's a good product or not. Something like that. So you're struggling a little bit grammatically sometimes. Sometimes you're not sure about the exact word you want to use or how you want to transition from one point to the next.
The passage and speaker confirm that advertising has a strong effect in our life.
But not just a strong effect, it has strong political and economic effects on our life. That's the point. You didn't really say that, so you have to make sure you accurately explain the ideas that you've read and that you've listened to. And part of that means you have to understand the purpose. What is the purpose of the reading passage? What's the thesis? What's the main idea? And then what's the purpose of the conversation or the lecture? What is it trying to do? And you need to explicitly state those purposes. By saying that it has a strong effect on us, I don't think that's enough. That's not specific enough to reflect what was discussed in the two sources. Now let's talk about your score. Now, if we take a look at the rubrics, I don't think it's a terrible speech. I'm going to put you in the 2 range. I think that you missed some key points, I think, from both. The idea of the political and the economic idea, the fact that you didn't really talk about those key points that much means you're missing kind of the main idea. So I'm going to put you at 2.33 out of 4, and that puts you at 18 points out of 30. Now for our class, a 2.33 out of 4, that means 80%. So still, it wasn't a terrible speech. I mean, you definitely understand, I think, what you've listened to, but you didn't exactly structure it the way that it should have been structured. So again, 2.33 out of 4, 18 points out of 30. Then for the purposes of our TOEFL class here at Cal State, I'm going to give you 80% on this particular assignment.